Hi, my name is Jeff Smith-Moritz, and I'm going to be taking a few minutes to go over some of the features of Prism 5. Prism is an easy program to learn, and we think you'll be up to speed in no time. Prism is organized a little bit differently than other graphing programs. With Prism, we ask you to think ahead of time about the type of graph you're going to be making. Each graph type has its own data table format, and you enter the data a little bit differently. There are XY graphs, something for linear nonlinear regression. We have column graphs, good for t-tests or one-way ANOVA. Grouped graphs, stacked or interleaved bars, maybe for two-way ANOVA. Contingency plots and survival curves. You don't have to start from scratch every time you want to make a graph. If you've already got a graph that you like, clone the graph. Prism will make an exact copy with all the settings and just let you replace the data. For each graph type, there are sample data sets. These are a great way to learn how Prism is organized. Find the analysis you'd like to perform or the graph you'd like to make, and Prism will open a file complete with notes and instructions. Let's take a minute to look at a Prism file. Prism organizes all the sheets in a file by certain types. You can have as many sheets and graphs in a file as you'd like. There are 5 types. There are data tables, info sheets where you keep track of experimental details, analysis results, graphs, and layouts. Move around in a Prism file by clicking on a sheet name or by toggling the arrows down at the bottom of the screen. Double-click on a file name to open that sheet. You can also move between sections using these tabs. Use the ping-pong button to toggle back and forth between two different graphs or two different sheets of any kind. Click on the main section heading to see a gallery of all the sheets in that section. Click on a sheet in the gallery and you go to that sheet. A key thing to remember with Prism is that all the related sheets are linked. If you change your data, your graph will update, your analysis will update. It's always easy to tell what you've done and everything will be current. It's easy to modify any part of your graph. You can just grab an axis end and stretch it. You can move the graph around. You can grab an element and drag it around the screen. Change text size, fonts, colors. Pretty much anything you need to do or want to do, you can do with Prism very easily, and it's very intuitive. Use the buttons at the top toolbar. Here, we'll grab these elements and move them over, and then double-click on the axis to open the Format Axis dialog. Pull it down so you can see it. You can set the axis ranges here. You can split the axis to have a gap. You can add a second y-axis. You can set the major and minor tick intervals. It's very easy to work with. Okay, let's play around with this graph a little bit. We'll add another y-axis. Just click that. Standard. Say OK. Move these legend items back so they're visible. Now let's add a custom line on this y-axis at the 5,000 mark. We'll add a custom line, 5,000. We'll accept the default, which is a dashed line. Say OK. There you go. You can add custom ticks or line on any axis. Some of the key buttons you should get to know. The New button is where you'd start a new sheet, a new graph, a new data table, any kind of sheet. The Analyze button. This is where you'd start an analysis from any graph or data table. You do transforms, normalization, column statistics, t-test, curve fitting from this location. We'll look at a sample curve fitting dialog just to go over some of the options. Prism has very powerful curve fitting, lots of built-in equations, and it's very easy to write your own. There's a new automatic outlier removal routine that's built in. Another great new feature is Prism Magic, or Make Graphs Consistent. Select a number of graphs from a gallery or one by one, click the magic wand, and you can make them all the same. Formatting, size, axis limits, etc. It's a great tool. You can also combine several graphs or pictures or other objects onto a layout page. This is a great way for making posters for presentations. Click the New button to select New Layout Page. Click the number of graphs you'd like and the orientation, portrait or landscape. Click OK, and then just drag and drop the graphs from the graph section onto the layout page. It's really very easy. Prism has a number of tools to help you align graphs on the page, make them the same size. You'll notice when we click this one and move it, the layout guide here and the graphs snap in. You can really fine-tune your layouts as much as you'd like. Once you have a graph or a layout the way you'd like it, you go ahead and press the Export button. Prism exports to TIFF, high resolution, TIFF, PDF files, vector EPS, virtually every format that you'd want. It makes it very easy to get your Prism graphs or layouts into another application. Well, this has been a really brief overview of GraphPad Prism. I'd like to end with 3 suggestions to help you get started. First, pay attention to the different kinds of data tables. Understanding how they differ is really the key to using Prism effectively. Second, explore the sample data sets. Each sample comes with an explanation of how to analyze and graph those data. Third, please take a look at the help system. Ours is really helpful. In addition to explaining the program, it can also help you understand the data analyses. Thanks for taking the time to watch.